everybody. Welcome to the Geekiverse Show, episode 43. The big 4-3. No anniversary for that one. No. I'm Josiah Leroy. With me, Genepool. Mr. Beta himself, Jeff Dugan. Jeff Dugan, I never say your last name.
Oh, I have a
that
full
might
name.
be the first time you've actually said it on camera.
I thought his name was Beta. Just like Cher.
We tried to hide it. Yeah. Shada Bear.
Just one word. Simple.
Moving on. Adam here on the Spoilerherr. Welcome back, Adam.
Spoilerherr!
What are you going to spoil for us this week, Adam?
Don't
Don't tell me. Spoiler alert. So, shooter campaigns. You proposed a pretty interesting theory in our group chat this week.
Yes.
That the shooter campaigns for Battlefield 1
suck. Oh, I'm sorry. Battlefield 1. No.
Adam's playing the game.
Jesus, the game's not even out!
Alright, anyway.
Spoiling Battlefield 1.
For World War One. The Allies won.
Damn it, Adam.
We're kind of a big deal here at
Germany
Geekiverse,
did
so we
not
got
do so
advanced copies, and I've already played it.
Tweet us, EA.
The game that isn't out yet for anybody,
Except for the Geekiverse.
except for us. We got an advanced
Played through the whole thing,
That's really not that good. So,
Yeah.
Battlefield 1.
There's guns. They shoot people.
There's lasers and a team.
And a blimp. There's a blimp in
And
there.
a blimp. So, he proposed that the campaigns for Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare have to be good. I don't think it's... I'll let you set the stage.
It's not exactly what I said.
Oh, here we go.
So I said I'll let you set the stage.
What I said was that we should talk about how to make the campaigns good, because just having an online multiplayer experience is not a complete game. Like, it's...
I don't think that's what you said.
Well, let me
Word
just,
for word,
let me just
no, it's
interrupt
not.
you right there, because Rainbow Six Siege is straight multiplayer 5-on-5. There's absolutely no campaign whatsoever, and it is one of the best games of the year.
I think Titanfall is one of my favorite games of this generation so far. That is not a campaign. I don't care what you say.
I guess a better question
Titanfall, Titanfall's not this generation.
Yes, it is. It was one of the first
It
games
is.
released for
It is
Xbox
this
One.
generation.
Xbox One, bro.
It's this generation. But a better
Oh,
question,
this is so embarrassing.
a better question is a game without a single player experience that is just an online multiplayer shooter, let's call it, is that worth $60 to you? Will you put
Yes,
up
if it's a
$60?
quality game,
Yeah.
and this is my reasoning, I would say don't tack on a single-player campaign just to do it. And don't tack on
I agree with that.
online multiplayer just to tack it on.
I agree with
And
that.
there are many games that have done that over the years. Some of the Call of Duties and a lot of the Battlefields have added 6-hour shooter campaigns that are just not good. Some are really good. And then the same goes
Be
for...
careful. We do have a comment on one of our videos of somebody ripping into me saying that Battlefield 4 was the best campaign ever, and it was...
No, it's not.
It's awful. I'm sorry that I've offended you, but you're wrong. And
Don't be sorry. It's offensive that he said it was the best one ever.
You're wrong.
Or she.
There's not a single Battlefield campaign that
No,
is like, oh
wait.
my
No,
god.
you shut your dirty mouth.
What?
I'm gonna
Because
get
Bad
the
Company
finger
2 was
in my
amazing.
face.
Yeah.
Bad Company 2, is that the starts in World War II with the whole...
No,
That's Bad
it's like
Company
modern
1?
day.
Yeah,
It's
Bad
modern.
Company's good.
Yeah.
Which one's the
Bad
one with the
Company
like super weapon that came out of World War II?
I don't know.
Bad Company.
That's bad.
Insert title name here. I mean...
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's one of those that's a Battlefield,
So-
and it's awful.
So, Beta, you posed the question to me
Yeah,
just now. Is it worth $60 to you?
right.
Okay, so if Call of Duty Black Ops 3 would have been all online, I think I would have been okay with it. Traditionally, I love Black Ops campaigns. I thought 1 and 2 are my favorite Call of Duty campaigns. Maybe even more so than Modern Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to each their own on that. Black Ops 3's campaign was so poorly written and made, and it felt like at the last second they're like, okay, we're going to just write this terrible poem that the main character says. Ask Andrew Garvey. He agrees with me on this.
I
agree with you.
I rented Black Ops 3 from Redbox after we talked about it a couple months ago.
Yeah,
I'm
garbage.
sorry.
And I...
Wasted 99 cents.
Well, yeah, thank God I only wasted 99 cents instead of,
Going the whole 60.
$60 on Dark Souls 3. We're not gonna go there.
Wait, we need to talk about this quick.
We might need Andrew Garvey here for that.
So, we're talking about in our group message, Dark Souls 3. I think
God.
Gene was just like, hey, should I get it? And he gets it. And I'm like, well, before he says that he got it, we're like, Gene, man, there's a learning curve for it. It's really hard. It's challenging. It's frustrating. You might break a control. To which Gene says, "Good thing I have a second controller."
I have a third one. I just bought an Elite controller.
Wow.
Long story short, Gene is trying to get rid of Dark Souls 3.
So I got rid of it. I got rid of it at GameStop yesterday. That's why I bought the Elite controller.
Okay then. Forget that. All right, back to the campaigns here. So
I played 3 missions into the campaign of Black Ops 3.
Yep.
And immediately uninstalled it from my Xbox One and took it promptly back to Redbox. I think I played 10 minutes on the multiplayer and I was just like, I can't do this. This is crap.
And I didn't love the multiplayer for Black Ops 3.
No, like as someone who has played all of the Call of Duties, all of the online stuff, who was rather decent at some of them, like the Advanced Warfare one, I was pretty decent at that multiplayer. I can't do anything on Black Ops 3. Like
they lost me at the futuristic stuff.
I can't chain anything together. Nothing, like all of the stuff that is supposed to make that game new and advanced blows it out of the water for me. Like it's not the whole wall running mechanic that looks like they stole from Titanfall is not the same. Like it doesn't work the same way that the Titanfall one does. The double jumping that they stole for Advanced Warfare doesn't work the way that it worked in Advanced. Like everything that they stole is basically like the knockoff brand that you can get at like your local supermarket of the actual good stuff.
So
great value brand name.
Exactly. That's what it is. This Call of Duty to me is great value brand. That's all it is.
Respawn did
Without
such a
the
good
great
job
value.
with Titanfall's dynamics and just the feel of the game. I was totally fine with not having a single player there, and I paid $60 for it, got it day one, do not regret it at all. There's really
you can piece together. I mean, the good thing about Titanfall is you can piece together the story.
Yeah, but
Very loosely, but you do
someone's got to do the homework for you.
But you do get an element that there is a little, like if you join in those campaign missions, you do kind of start, the more you play it, the more you're like, oh, okay, so this guy's this, and like you do kind of slowly get the story.
Yeah,
but
it's not exactly.
With this, you can't get anything.
A multiplayer only game, I paid $60 plus $30 for the season pass for Rainbow Six Siege, and I have absolutely not one complaint about the game.
So he's paying close to $100 for a game. We're not even talking 60 anymore.
I would argue the same thing for the Division.
Okay.
Like, I have the Division. The Division, again, still has a story to it, but the story is not a linear story like a Call of Duty series is, and it's...
No, because it's an open world map.
It's better.
But don't you think that it's better
But it really has a limited multiplayer experience.
True.
Because unless you go in the Dark Zone, anything outside of the Dark Zone is PvE, not PvP.
True.
And unless you get in like a fire squad of 4 with a couple of your buddies or matchmake, you're playing the game by yourself.
So don't you argue that a game is better if it's self-aware and it knows what it's good at and it nails it?
I would say yes to that.
Yeah.
If a company like Respawn knows that they're fantastic at making a online multiplayer experience like they did in Titanfall, then I think that they should do that. Like, I feel like that's what they should do, and they should stick to that type of thing.
So Titanfall 2 will have a campaign,
Right.
by the way.
And I don't think it's outside the line to give the gamer a good variety of experiences. This is true even in a multiplayer setting. You still want to have games that aren't just arenas where you're shooting people and that's the whole game.
But some people want that.
You can paint the aesthetic as much as you want, but that's not a $60 game.
Just a lot of people it would be, though.
Yeah,
Well, that's
a
what they
lot
do.
of people don't buy Call of Duty for the campaign.
No, not at
And
all.
I would argue that they don't do that because why would you? Like,
Right, 'cause
the
that's what-
campaign's never been something that's been like, oh my god, I need to go check out
Yeah.
the new campaign.
Right.
Like, it's never been that.
That's not a
simple.
$60 experience.
And then,
No,
but then you
that's what I'm
gotta look
saying.
at the flip side of the coin with like Star Wars Battlefront. That was multiplayer only. That flopped. Like that's pretty much dead.
I would not say it's dead because I can
not
still.
quite dead, but
I can join in the 40-person
It's
session and
almost
immediately
dead.
get a full.
there are no
lobby.
matchmaking issues with that game.
Yeah.
The problem is
like
with
it's not selling at really that much anymore.
I could
But
probably go to GameStop and pick up a brand new copy of that for $20 now.
No.
you can't. No, it's not that low.
So 12 million units sold on that.
yeah, like
Not
it's
bad.
not
But
it's
the
not to the $20
the
level yet.
issue
It's still
more
up there.
with Battlefront is that it didn't provide you enough of an experience.
So the
It
issue is
provides you-
DLC.
Well, it's DLC, yes, but that's just tacking on the experiences later. It's the same thing that Destiny did.
And that doesn't
it gave you this little shell of a nothing for $60.
Yep.
And then later on, it's like, oh wait, here's the whole game. We just shipped you a shell.
$160 later, and now
Right.
all of a sudden
I
you
really
start
enjoyed
to see
Destiny. Though.
Destiny's a great game, but it was not a full experience. Just like Battlefront's not a full experience.
Yeah,
That's my problem with selling multiplayer online-only games, is they don't flesh it out enough. They give these users one basic experience that they wouldn't like a MOBA, and then they say this is a $6 game and it's a AAA title. It's not that, unless I think a AAA title has to have a variety of experiences to give the user.
We talked about this before. like when we were originally talking about Black Ops 3, when we originally did that video. You should go watch it, by the way. But like we talked about it, and some people enjoy those campaigns, not necessarily just because they want to play a campaign, but if you're like me, when I first get a game like Call of Duty, I try and play through the campaign to understand, to learn how the game goes before I even hop into a multiplayer session.
The mechanics from the campaign mode I always found were completely different than the mechanics.
I would say they were different. I wouldn't say
in
they
the
were
multiplayer.
completely different.
I would say the best example of a game that balances so well is in the Halo franchise, either Halo 3 or Halo Reach. Reach didn't have the strongest multiplayer. I would say 3 is where I would land for the strongest multiplayer experience, and that balanced well between what you learned in the campaign, the strong campaign, and then an even stronger online presence.
But what about, so in that argument, I enjoyed Halo 5. I thought that was a decent balance.
It's a great game. Yeah, I think 3 did better.
I didn't do the campaign of Halo 5 yet.
So
no spoilers for
no spoilers.
Even though I know what happened in it, so it doesn't matter.
No spoilers for the spoiler. So
some would spoil it for them.
So
quickly.
I already know what happened.
Isn't that in the hands of the buyer though, on determining what a $60 value is?
Absolutely, but
Yes.
but the more and user data would say that, oh, we spend this much time in multiplayer. Yes, because it is the product for the end game. If you look at it from a standpoint of if you're building an RPG, the multiplayer is the end game of the whole experience, and therefore that's where the game lives. But if you don't provide your users an interesting, it's like writing the first chapter of a book. If it's not an interesting chapter, they're not going to stay through the whole book to get to the end and play the full multiplayer and buy your DLC.
That's the thing. I don't think you can take those numbers, those user data that says, well, we don't put our effort into the campaign because nobody plays our campaign. You can't take that number seriously when you're producing crappy campaigns.
But it doesn't matter because they're selling the game. In Call of Duty and Battlefield, they're primarily for the multiplayer.
He's right though. One of the big arguments for Call of Duty to not make a good campaign is that people don't stick around for the campaign. They buy it for the multiplayer. They play 3 levels of the campaign, and that's it, and they go into multiplayer.
So I bet you those users burn out on the multiplayer.
A study came out a few years back. I believe Infinity Ward conducted it. Just research on specifically their Xbox sales. And they found from basically Xbox Gamer Score, from achievements, that the vast majority of players played Chapter 1. And a huge drop-off was seen for Chapter 2. And that was about it. It was a high number, a high percentage of players that never got past the first few chapters. But their multiplayer sells, their DLC sells, $15 every 3 or 4 months. Star Wars Battlefront on its name alone, just from the franchise that it is. So if you guys go to, let's stick to Battlefield and Call of Duty.
Fine.
Just for this example, you go to EA and you go to Infinity Ward. They don't need to do anything with... What are you selling them on needing a quality single-player campaign? What is your point? Because money talks, and money says we could throw whatever the heck we want into a single-player campaign. It doesn't matter. You're going to go play the online, and then you're going to pay us another $60 to $100 for a season pass worth of DLC.
I truly don't believe that you can look at those numbers and truly see... Like, EA produced that study... Not when the campaigns were good.
No, Infinity Ward.
Sorry.
I disagree though, because it was during the basically the pinnacle of the Black Ops games, when it was Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. And again, I think a lot of people would back me that those are some of the better Call of Duty campaigns.
I would agree with you. I wouldn't agree with your previous statement in the beginning saying it was better than the Modern Warfare series. I would say it's top 5.
Again, but what I would say to you though is then you still want to talk about the variety that you're giving the user, the variety you're giving the gamer. If you're not giving them, it's interesting. First of all, it's very interesting they're having this argument because back in like the gen of like N64 to the original Xbox and the PS2, the conversation was, do we tack on a multiplayer experience? Now we're talking about tacking on a campaign, which is very interesting, but it all serves the point of what kind of a product were they providing the gamer, or they're providing us. And I don't think that, I subscribe to the theory that video games are an art form. And
I
that,
totally agree.
And that, to that extent, art is good when it provides a different experience for a lot of people. And I feel like the more varied, but it's a weird balance between varied and focused to the design and the build of the game. Because, like I said, Halo, for example, for me is a perfect example of a AAA game. How a AAA game should come out, and it's offered to the public what it is, and it's given this, massive multiplayer experience, but you also can play this really in-depth story and play it with a variety of people, where the online doesn't end in competitive modes, where you are playing online with people like, I can jump in and all of a sudden you and me are playing against the first end boss in the first chapter of the game, and that's awesome. It's a great experience. You have a collective experience there, and then you go shoot each other online. Like that is the interesting place where you can attack it from any point and still find a good game. When you have a weak spot in a game, it's very obvious, and that's the part that gets taken down. And then people argue that it needs to be removed. I disagree. I think it needs to be bolstered.
Sure, in a perfect world, we get everything, but
I feel like, again, the precedent is set. $60 is a full game, and a full game is, if it's not a collaboration of a single player multiplayer experience, then it is a phenomenal multiplayer experience with a variety of game types, a variety of ways to experience it. So that is cooperative and competitive.
Your definition of a quality game in this case would be getting both a good multiplayer experience and a good offline or single player.
Exactly.
Okay.
Substantive.
I would
But
argue,
you still
to
have
go
to-
off of your artistic thing, I would argue that there's nothing artistic about the Call of Duty series at this point. Even if you
No.
Even if you look at the
Whoa.
No, listen, like even this game that's sitting right there,
Yeah.
if you look at Advanced Warfare, Kevin Spacey, the motion capture that they did for that was phenomenal.
Gorgeous.
It looked real, everything, it looked amazing. You look at this and it's awful in comparison
it's
to that.
cinematically very good looking.
I would completely disagree with that. In
Dude.
comparison, if you hold this up to Advanced Warfare, I would completely say
because
that.
you know who Kevin Spacey is, and you just
Yeah, but I would even say that the motion capture.
The guy from Law and Order was in this, all right?
Yes,
SCP.
I agree with you on that, but it's still like the motion capture alone in the Advanced Warfare game was 10 times better than what it is in
For
this
what
game.
I've played of Black Ops 3, I thought it was cinematically, the single player looked
I
amazing.
think it looks really good. I think it's just a really bad tainted story.
I don't know. I maybe after not playing it and only hearing the negative comments about it, and then suddenly playing it, walking in with a bad taste in my mouth for it, maybe that's where this is coming from. But I really just do not think that this game looks anywhere on par with Advanced Warfare.
So thank you, research staff. The Star Wars Battlefront is currently retailing for $34.99 at GameStop. So not bad. It's about where I expect a game that is 7 months in to be.
And why do you think, besides overproduction, because that's clearly an issue, but why do you think games have decreased in value so much in this generation? Because you can get
Certain ones.
No, I wouldn't say. I mean, the only one I could.
How old is the Division, research staff? When did the Division come
March
out?
8th.
March 8th?
Boom.
Yeah.
You really want to go this route?
Wow.
Hi,
research staff. But that's $60 still. When did Battlefront come out?
November.
It is because I just checked it on my Xbox One.
November
which-
17th. Oh, Adam's got an Xbox One, by the way.
Yeah, I got one.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm finally. I can
Taking your first step into a larger world.
I can play with the big boys now.
So those lasers really pay off.
Well,
You gotta look at what they do with these multiplayer games. That, like Rainbow Six, they sell it. It's multiplayer only plus a $30 season pass. So that's already $90, almost $100.
buyer beware. If
Plus,
no, keep going. Keep going.
plus you can buy in-game credits to buy other things. You can buy weapon skins. I've spent an absurd amount of money on the stupidest stuff because I like that color weapon skin. I want that.
Okay, you're in the minority here. So
Yeah.
But I
I don't think that because it doesn't have a single player that it's not worth $60.
No,
I agree.
that's not quite what I'm saying.
I think
because
it varies
would say,
game to game.
I would say it depends on the way you want to play your game, because I still think there are games like Team Fortress and things like that are very full games that deserve the notion that they are full, complete games, but they don't have a single player campaign. Depends on how you play the game. My point is that like if they're gonna tote that they're a AAA game and they're producing, a full-fledged single player and a full-fledged multiplayer, that's got to be balanced. It's got to be good.
But what would you say about a game like Fallout or Skyrim that doesn't have a multiplayer?
That again is what they're toting is that experience, and they're not toting the multiplayer experience, and they never have.
So
You don't even have time to even think about a multiplayer
You're
experience.
trying to think about anything
because
else.
you can put 500-600 hours into a game and still not have everything done.
Aren't you catering to your
Mr.
audience
Chopperwood.
to what they want? I mean, Call of Duty fans often only play Call of Duty and maybe like Madden or NHL. And then you get people like us who just seem to we play everything, right? I mean, it's our media, it's what we do here at the Geekiverse. We have a hand in every type of genre of gaming. But the average gamer is not doing that. So I don't think there's a problem as long as you're not being deceitful about it. I mean, I guess a good example would be NHL 15. So we're going back 2 years ago. Thank you, Train. And going into the game probably 3 weeks before EA drops, there's no EA SHL, which is the big online multiplayer version of NHL that was the selling point of the franchise. Oh, we don't have this game mode. Oh, we don't have that game mode.
Right.
That was second
look
garbage.
At the amount of backlash they got when they took out the minor league European.
Correct. So there were certain leagues that were not in the game as well because they could only focus so much power on the next gen systems at that time. So my thought is, if you're advertising your game, be honest about it. If someone wants to pay $60 for it and it's worth it to them, or in Gene's case, they want to spend $100 on pretty looking weapons, then go for it. If it's worth it to you, that's fine. Play what you want to play.
So we're
I
not
think
going to
it
talk
varies.
about my drunken Clash of Clans experiences.
Maybe we'll save that for episode 44.
I think it varies from game to game, deciding on what is considered a complete game, and I think that
It depends on the person.
People don't play your campaigns, then stop including your campaigns.
But you know what? If
Put all of your effort into making the multiplayer.
They can do whatever the heck they want.
Right.
But here's the thing: if I feel that what they put
This
out
is
is a
where Jeff's-
complete game to
this is
me,
where Jeff's
I
thing
don't
comes
really
out.
care if you don't think it's a
Like
complete
how you
game
speak
because I
directly
think
for
it's a
me.
complete game.
This is where his thing. This is where I agree with Jeff.
My point, though, to not be missed, that you're saying so fervently for me, is that
You're welcome.
Yes, Jeff. What do you think?
My point is that it's more about that you give the people who are looking for the game that you're promising not only what you promise them, but a diverse experience so that they can go into it and find different things and explore it and create a world inside of this game. It's like I said, I'm a big proponent of these video games are art, and so that they should have complexities to them, and that when you limit it to a certain one function, so if it's only going to be a multiplayer game, then it better be one heck of a multiplayer game to really serve the $60 mark that we've set for full games. That's what I'm just saying. I mean, as long as you're getting the value out of the game,
Sticking to those two games right there.
I haven't played them. It's just hard to say.
All right. Well, can any of the two of you then,
Fair
or either of the two of you, go over and say that those multiplayers or those campaigns stick out enough to make what he said true?
No,
I remember
because I
the
just hate
first-
Call of Duty in general.
I remember the underwater scene in Battlefield 4. I remember hating my life in Black Ops 3 and that awful poem that kept resurfacing.
Sounds like you have a
Yeah,
you
so
problem.
I never played Battlefield
It's more than a lot of
4,
people remember. Yeah.
but I really started getting lost with the Call of Duty series in Black Ops, or
Call of
was
Duty
it
4?
Black Ops 2 where they really started the futuristic stuff?
Yes,
Yes.
that was the first one that had both.
So that's when they started losing me, is when they started adding the futuristic stuff.
But that was more of that's not a story.
Okay,
thing.
yeah, I understand that. But then, Advanced Warfare came out. That was all like cybernetic stuff. And then this comes out, and 3 missions in, I'm like,
Yeah.
No, just
I've
shoot
made
me.
it through.
Did you
I've
get to
made
the
it through
drone
every
storm?
single.
Where
No.
there's mountains of drones coming
No,
at you. You gotta turret them down.
I
I've made it
got 3
through
missions
every
in, and I'm
single
like,
campaign.
I can't do this. I will never get this time back.
This is a really
This
good
is-
topic. This is a really good debate.
If I start a campaign, 99% of the time I will finish that campaign, even if I hate it. These two,
So will I.
like
I
those
had to
two,
get
I
that
can't do it. I stopped at mission.
There's
4.
One
What happened to
campaign
you?
in recent years that I didn't finish. And I even remember texting Paul like about it and being like, it was on my conscience of like, should I abandon this? Resident Evil 6.
Oh,
Awful.
That's
yeah.
another one.
Whoa.
Awful.
Awful.
That's a story-based game, so that's a story for another time. But
There you go.
final thoughts, let's wrap up. I really like this discussion. I'd like to continue it in the future. Final thoughts on the shooter campaigns that are coming up. We got Battlefield 1, we got Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Next year we have Star Wars Battlefront 2, Titanfall 2. I'm sure I'm going to be missing a bunch here. What are we looking for these games? Where can we find you on Twitter?
I think, for me, the games there needs to be a better focus on either the multiplayer or either the campaign.
It will be multiplayer 99, 100 times out of 100.
Make your focus one of those things and stick to it and make it amazing.
Okay,
Like,
so in short, you're saying Battlefield and Call of Duty can leave out single-player campaigns and just go...
as long as the multiplayer is fantastic and makes up
So
for
then, does it
go
make
ahead.
it worth $60?
If the multiplayer is fantastic, yes.
Both of those, I would argue, EA and, DICE and Infinity Ward or Treyarch or any
It
of
was Treyarch.
Sledgehammer, and any of the Call of Duty ones. I think
Let's not include
Vice
Sledgehammer.
grip. Just,
Modern Warfare 3, it was a great game.
Yeah.
So any of them, I argue, they are top-notch multiplayer. You pay for what you get with it. Beta, final thought on this.
I can't wait for Yooka-Laylee to come out. This is a platformer based around the Banjo-Kazooie type games. It's
See,
gonna be a
we
great
just-
story.
We're for everybody here at the Geekiverse. Diversity!
No, I'm looking forward to Titanfall 2, and I'm looking forward to Battlefront 2 to see as far as adding a single-player campaign to a game that was multiplayer only and seeing what that does for their sales and for the response from the people that play them. I think that it's a very interesting time. Like I said, that we're talking about adding single-player campaigns when offline play was all you could do for the longest time.
Correct.
And that online is taking over. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Other side of the coin here. Gene.
It really depends to me. I'm not really a proponent of it needs to be one or the other. If it has both, they should both be pretty decent. But if one is superior to the other, then I don't really
Like the
mind.
lake.
Too many hours.
But Battlefield 1, I'm definitely picking up because it's going back
Yeah, me too.
to the originals.
I'm a Battlefield guy this
to-
fall.
No
to
way. I
World
don't think
War
any
I.
of us are not going to pick that one
The
out.
only reason I probably will ever touch Infinity Wars, or not Infinity Wars, whatever the...
Infinite Warfare.
It's called Infinity Gauntlet. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Whatever this new crap Call of Duty is
Call
gonna
of
be
Duty Infinity Gauntlet. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Whatever
There's
it's
our
gonna be called,
thumbnail.
What have we done?
I will probably only pick it up because a vast majority of my friends that I play like the Division and Rainbow Six with will probably pick it up. So I'll probably only pick it up to play with them.
Okay. So
I think Reddit's going to hate us now.
bring it on, Reddit. Battlefield 1
I'd say that.
or Call of Duty this fall.
Battlefield 1.
Battlefield.
Battlefield 1.
I'm in the same boat. So the Geekiverse has spoken.
That's
agree
not
on
even a
something.
contest.
I'm excited about these. I play through the campaigns no matter what. I'm like Adam, 99%. I'm going all the way through. Very interested to see Battlefront 2. Beta and I talked about pre-show the original Battlefront 2
Yes.
campaign as being one of the better ones in
Yeah.
recent memory for the
501st going through their transition.
original Xbox.
Field.
Front.
Not front.
It was front.
It was
I
front.
It was front.
We're talking about Star Wars,
Okay.
Adam.
Oh my gosh!
Making sure that we were still there.
Oh, it was a
Last
test.
last time I did it, I got
Spoilerherr.
ripped in the comments.
Spoilerherr.
Try
So
to
Reddit
save me.
turns into.
Well, you're about to get ripped in the comments again.
If
Probably.
Redditors were to go to Twitter and try to, like rip on you for that comment, where would they find you?
At Adam J. Hurt, go ahead. Take it. Let's go. Bring it, Reddit.
To talk
I'm
about
not afraid of you, Internet.
Beta, where are you?
for all things ukulele, I will be at JeffD_geek.
I'm excited for ukulele. Genepool.
So for anything in regards to me trolling Adam or the Grumpy Geek over there, or anyone involved in our group, you can find me at _Genepool. And Yeah, that's about it.
Good Twitter handle.
Very good. So we're gonna have an E3 prediction show coming up in the coming weeks here.
That's
Obviously,
good.
it's right around the corner.
Path.
Very, very excited. We might have our first Geekiverse war room. So that is an exciting time for us. Dun dun dun. I'm very excited for the campaigns. Also, Respawn's Star Wars game that was announced recently. That sounds like that's going to be awesome from the makers of Titanfall. I am at Josiah D. Leroy on Twitter. Please, make fun of us, troll us on Reddit. That's what we live for. That's how we know we've made it. If there's no comments, then it means you're not watching.
There's only one annoying internet personality on this show right now, so
I totally agree.
I think one we're gonna
You know what?
I
I
think
just
we need
think
3
you
more.
haven't.
What
I
are you
haven't.
talking
You
about?
haven't been labeled one yet
What's
because.
fedora?
Adam hasn't been on enough of the episodes.
Yeah,
I
he
haven't made it
hasn't
on
been labeled
Reddit
one
enough
yet, but I'm gonna label you right now. You're an annoying internet personality.
yes,
Oh, we missed Eugene so much.
success.
So, we're going to wrap up Geekiverse episode 43 for the Spoilerherr, the beta, the Genepool. I'm Josiah Leroy. Thank you so much for watching.
It's Jeff Johns.
Yes.
Any character the guy takes, he seems to find a way to add layers of depth to their background, their origins. He gives them meaningful story arcs that have lasting impact on the character. The guy's phenomenal.
Well, look what he did with Green Lantern and Aquaman. Two
Right.
characters that were largely, relegated to jokes or only known from the cartoons for the longest time. They're cool characters.
Right.
We know this as fans, but the
course.
general public, was like, the guy can be beat by Yellow for Green Lantern,